Okay, we're gonna start in 1 minute. So yeah, just as a heads up, this meeting is gonna be recorded. Yeah, it's sort of a live training. So basically, if you want to ask any questions, you can unmute yourself. And yeah, and also if you don't have a mic or something like that, you can also use the chat. I will try to do my best to keep up on the chat. And yeah, so feel free to do that. I'm gonna hit record so we can start.
Recording in progress.
All right, so welcome to another monthly training of Exploitpack. My name is Juan Saco. I'm one of the core developers of Exploitpack. On this training, what I'm gonna do with you guys is to show you basically some basics on Exploitpack, how to use it, some stuff that is already covered in the manual, but because we are keep updating the tool monthly, there are some tools and new features basically that they are not there yet. Most of everything is already there in the manual, but some of the new Asians, for example, that I'm going to show you today, they are not quite covered in full. So yeah, but besides that, I'm also going to try to go through everything a little bit, like how to use it from scratch. The last few trainings were not based on Exploitpack, were more based on reversing. I think we covered a little bit of exploitation and so on. Still, we would like to do that. So next month, April is gonna go through those topics, back on those. But this one, we're gonna touch the basics of Exploitpack itself. So I will assume that you already have Exploitpack running on your computer. If not, please reach support or go to Discord channel to see if you can have it running. You know already that Exploitpack. I suppose you know already Exploitpack is a Java base. It's multi-platform. It's Java base. So basically, the whole code. Actually, I'm not sharing the screen, so I'm gonna start with that. So here I have it running. It's multi-platform Exploitpack, so we will run basically on Linux, Windows, or Mac. It should be the same speed, same behavior. And the code is Java-based. So what you need to run Java code, you will need the Java VM. If you go to exploitpack.com, you will find some help on that. We close quickly this so it's more clear. All right, so if you go here on the download, you will find basically a step installation guide on how to install it. There are some quick step-by-step, like step one, you need to download, of course, Exploitpack, the trial, if you just want to try it. Otherwise, after that, you always have to get the JDK if you don't have it installed on your computer. Then, well, after that, of course, you can just reach the manual, and then start yourself. And if not, if you hate manuals, then you can just try by yourself and see what you can do. Supposedly, if you have some basic knowledge, you should find it should be like home for you. It shouldn't be that hard. Still, I'm gonna explain some details, some more complex stuff on Exploitpack, or how the background, how the backend of Exploitpack works during this training. But okay, let's cover first the basics. Of course, you do need to have the JDK. So there are different versions of Java, but you need exactly the JDK. One is the same that you will use if you install other tools based on Java, like for instance. Barb Suite, Swan. There are other open source tools, of course, that they of course use Java because it's a good multi-platform language. But in any case, you do need Java. Get it from JDK. If you use the open source one, it's basically OpenJDK. You can also use that one, but make sure that you use the latest version of it. open JDK. So basically, open JDK, basically Java at its core is maintained by Oracle. They have their own release of Java. Is the JDK. This one, JDK 20, is the latest one. So you can get it for Linux, Mac, or Windows. You can also get it from directly from the repositories if you are using something like in Ubuntu, like in Debian or something like that. There are several repositories that you can get it from. Or you can choose get it from here and then get, for instance, this dev file and then choose do dpkg and then install it. Different platforms, of course. This is for Fedora or Red Hat. Or you can choose get the tarball and then it's just a compressed archive. If you need it for Mac OS X, so click here and then it will be basically the one you need. For x64, choose get it here, double click it, and then choose go through the installation process of Java. You might already have it installed already. And OpenJDK, basically Kali, Ubuntu, some other Linux distros, they come pre-installed with a version of Java, but it will come with OpenJDK because it's the open source one. It's the same scenario. For instance, in this computer, I have an NVIDIA card, and you can use the Novo drivers. You can use those are open source. They do support my NVIDIA card, but they will not give me all the features. You can also have the NVIDIA proprietary driver that would be something like this. So just put it in perspective. OpenJDK still is not like that because it will have every feature that Java will have, but it's always better to choose to have the one from Oracle. It's easier to maintain. But in any case, pick any of those, but pick the latest one because we are using some of the new features from Java. So we do not support Java 11. We start supporting. So basically, the minimal version for Java that we support is Java 18. And if you have like unexpected behavior, something is wrong and you cannot tell why it's happening, mostly it's because, in Exploitpack or any other Java tool, mostly it's because you are running an old version of Java. There are some, like in Ubuntu, you might be aware, there are some LTS type of versions. Version 11 of Java is quite old, but it is LTS, like they do have a long-time support. But still, I will recommend you guys that it's not to be on the edge, but try to get one of the latest version. All right. So how do run Exploitpack? So once you make your order for Exploitpack or you choose to load the trial, you will get a jar file, so basically a zip file, I still remember, and then you unzip that one, and then you can run it with Java -jar, and it depends if you have it. Let me check here. Yeah, so if you get the trial, you will get something like this. And then if you are on Windows, Mac OS X, you can choose double-click the jar file. On Linux as well, but there is also the script here, exploitpack/linux.sh. You can use that. So basically, if it doesn't work, just do change mode +X to that one, Linux like that, and then you can choose run it. By default, it comes with a sudo. It doesn't need sudo, so you can remove that if you feel like. Just like that. And then, then you run it. And then you run it. Or you can choose runtime, because what it's going to do is going to choose look for Java here, and then it's going to check for where is the command. It was going to construct the command, and then it's going to use from where Java is found, and then it's going to try to run Exploitpack from that directory, the jar file. Or you can choose do Java -jar Exploitpack in this case, trial.jar. Yeah. And what you want to do in that way, so if anything fails or if you have an issue or something, the log that you will get on the terminal is where it's going to display any errors or any debug message or something like that. If you choose run it like it is, you will find the debug and the errors inside the log folders. There are some lists of requirements. So if you look at the file requirements, .txt, you will find, of course, what we say, Java. You also need Python.7. So it's the Python version 2. There are two versions of Python that are currently support, Python version 2, Python version 3. We are slowly moving all our Python scripts into Python 3. At some point this year, we will stop maintaining the Python 2.7, and we will choose keep on using Python 3. And then we use Scapy as well, Roper, and mmap. So you need to have these three installed. Roper and Scapy, they come pre-installed as Python scripts inside Exploitpack. So you don't need to install them, but you can have it. They are optionals. If you want to use our version, we will use it by default. If it's not, then you can choose. You can choose install the latest ones. And same for mmap. mmap, I would recommend you guys that you do an M installer. And if you are using choose a Linux dev base, choose Debian base, choose run this one. This command apt-get update, apt-get install, and it will start extern, mmap, default JDK, Python 2, Python 2.7, Python pip, and then we'll run pip install Scapy and Roper. So extern is this terminal. It will be used to for summations. Summations they use extern to pop up shells. And in Windows, it's gonna use PowerShell or something like that. It depends. And extern is gonna also be used on Mac OS X. So you can also use this as a simple guide to use in Mac. You brew install and then the same. If you cannot find, if one of these packages is not found, choose do brew search and then look for it. That should be it. Then you will have it running. And remember that it is different, the trial version than the full version. So if you make an order of Exploitpack, you will receive your download, because the download will include the 0 days and everything that will be listed for you, specifically for your user. So including the license key. The license keys are personal and everything will be listed in a folder for your user. That's basically the pack that will be provided for you, so you can install and will be installed automatically when you register your product. So when you register your copy, you need to browse for your key, activate it, and if it says, sorry, your 48 hours has been passed, that means that you waited too long and you didn't activate your product in the 48 hours window that we leave the package for you, your personal package available on the host. Once you have it activated, you don't need another hot topic is that because basically we release new versions every 2 or 3 weeks. So when there is a new version and some users having these issues, if there is a new version, you don't need to download the new version. You can reactivate the old one. So there is an updater. So when you have the updater, choose select the updater on your folder, the one that is already activated with your personal key. And then you can choose go ahead and keep using that one. All right. So before we go into the utilities tab, let's go back to the exploit tab. So once you have your Exploitpack activated, there are several windows, there are several tabs, and several tools that you can use. Basically, at the core, Exploitpack is a pen test framework. It's meant to be used during a pen test, during a red team exercise to cover several automated tasks that should be, basically it should make your life easier doing a red team exercise or doing a pen test. Exploit tab. So basically the Exploitpack exploits will allow you to basically search for any exploits that is basically public, or develop the new ones, modify those exploits on the fly, and allow you to use, for instance, auto pound on new targets, discover new targets, and run your exploits that you need on those targets automatically. The exploits, I do not recommend to go ahead and run any exploit on any target. That it will first, if you don't know what you are doing and just try to run an exploit against a target, then most of the cases will either not do anything, or you will crush the target. So don't run an exploit that you don't understand. That's one of the golden rules. So if you don't understand the exploit that you wanted to run against that specific target, we have support chats like Discord channel, and we have support tickets, a support ticket system. In the case that you are doing a pen test, you say, hey, I found this exploit, or I'm working on this exploit myself, and you wanted to run against that target, just let us know. We can help you. We have exploit developers, myself included, that we can try to help you. We will try to do our best effort to help you out, understand what you are trying to do. But of course, you need to know a little bit of what you are doing, right? Okay, so those are the exploits. So once you select your exploit, you can add a new exploit. Of course, as I mentioned, you can add a module. So if you click here on add module, then you can just add your new module to Exploitpack. It will add a new exploit, basically. You can add different type of exploits, of course. It could be client-side, remote, local, or a web attack. It might be a public exploit. It might seem something that you are creating. And you will have a platform that will be the target of that platform. You will have some, or not, as optional, special arcs, tested on, ports affected, and basically this was going to happen. And then after that, it will ask you, let's choose, make a test. So tested on, ports affected, and all these values, they are later used during the auto pound to select that exploit. And here you can choose drop your code, your script, or call whatever you need it. And what is gonna happen there is that it's gonna be pre-selected. So the interpreted path, if we go to edit preferences, you will see that we have one interpreted path. In this case, we are using Python 2.7, but Exploitpack is smart enough to try to pre-select the interpreter based on, let's look for something so I can show you. So basically, based on the banner. Oh, that was a good one. So, I missed. So this one, for instance, is use Perl. So basically, if it is there, Exploitpack will parse this file, your exploit, basically the exploit you are trying to target, and it will pre-select the interpreter on there. It will choose parse it, and it will choose select the interpreter. If there is no interpreter pre-selected on the exploit, then we'll use the one that you have here. Per exploit, you will find that there is two files created per exploit. The exploits are in the exploit folder. And here you will have, for instance, this one. This one is called GNU Anubis 3.6. So let's edit that one. So this is the XML that is created for it. So quite old, I can see. This is the exploit code that is gonna use. This is the name of the exploit itself that we are seeing here. This is the description. There is nothing specified for, well, see, yeah, there is Linux specified as target. This is the description. The author of the exploit, well, the date, as to say, the vulnerability reference, no special arcs, the remote, the shell port is using 444. I think that's under supposed to be a remote code execution type of vulnerability. So if we go to the code, we will find that the code is, it is code, of course, and the code lives inside the code folder. All right, and inside the data folder, of course, is where all the auxiliary stuff, I mean, tools that you can use for the exploits can be called. So if you are into the development of an exploit, you are trying to add something there, and of course, that's how it works. And the target properties of each exploit can be pre-selected here. How you interact with the exploits. Once you get a remote shell of one of the exploit or choose execute code, it will be listed here in modules execution log. It will also go into the logs. And why it goes into the logs? Because then you can choose make a report out of it, or choose have a log of what you were executing in that particular target. If you get a shell out of that exploit, if you are making that exploit, you can try to use one of our shells, or you can choose your own one. If you send that shell into the port 1234 or the one that is pre-selected by Exploitpack, the reverse shell port is 1234. You can change that, of course. But if you send that shell, it's gonna pop up here into the connection list of Exploitpack, and then you are supposed to use this as a reverse shell, because then you can upgrade that shell into one of the agents of Exploitpack. That's how the process should work. First, you get the exploit executed. It doesn't matter which exploit. If you get a shell, you upgrade that shell, of course, using 1234 or the port that you wanted to use, and then you send that shell into one of the agents, right? Okay, the exploiting doesn't have to be a remote shell. It could be also a client side, local client side. So it depends. It depends on the type of exploit that you wanted to run. And again, the exploit can be called through autopam. Don't do that if you don't want to crash the environment, or if you want to try it into a lab. But I will recommend you guys that you use autopam when you are really aware of what you are doing. You can interact with the shell code from here or from this console, yeah, from the shell code that you get executed through the exploit, right? Okay, you can also get the shell code from the shell code tab, or you can build your own, of course. Okay, then moving into the utilities tab, here you have scanners. You also have some fuzzers. So the fuzzer, this one, you can use it through the interface here. It's just a simple fuzzer. It's just meant to do some discovering. For this, you need Scapy. It should come pre-installed. And let me show you how it works. So basically, so you can also run it on your own machine. Let's just run it for a few seconds. On my own machine, I will choose run it against the port 631. 631, 100, localhost, and then you can run it as a client or as a server. And basically, you can, if you run it as a server, you can use your custom payload or client custom payload. If you want to use any type of multiplier, or you can choose start it and you will use random random stuff. Okay, stop it. So what's going to happen is that here is going to log what you run. I choose run a few packets. I choose run a few packets. Then I got sorry something wrong because the connection was reset by peer. I can choose overrule that, of course, and I can choose keep on running. If I wanted, it might crash the target. Don't do that. And if you are doing it remotely, it means that you either discover something, you get blocked, or there's something wrong with it. It's just meant to be used as a discovery fuzzer. Once you have this, what's going to happen is that you will have the packet sense. If you discover that you crash something and you want to keep up playing with that crash, you can select that one, copy it, and then click on skeleton, and then it will take you to the exploit modules, and then you can you have to save this module, call it your new model, let's say 631 process blah 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 or something like that. I don't know what you are debugging in that case, and replace it will choose replace the packet that you selected. It will take it here, so you will have the packet that is supposed to crash that target, and then you can choose run it and try to reproduce it. And if you want to run it, then you click on auxiliary, execute auxiliary, and it will choose run it. If you want to modify the fuzzer, you can choose modify here. It's just a simple fuzzer, or you can choose use the interface, and every log will be saved into every packet will be saved into this log. And if you change the target, it will change the name of the log file, of course. Mmap, Mmap. You can run it from Exploitpack from here, but why do we have Mmap inside Exploitpack? Because you can use it as a network discovery tool. So if you are in a pen test, let's say you have Exploitpack running inside a network, and you wanted to discover what is on the network, you can use Exploitpack for that. Every target will be added into the target machines. So here I have some examples that are added by default, but if you run a discovery inside your network using Mmap, then you will have all your targets listed here. And then from your target, you can choose keep like an notepad for each one and say, okay, this one has been owned. I want to run Mmap on this one again. I want to delete it because it's not useful, or I want to auto pound it directly. Then you have there are a lot of stuff to cover, guys. And if you have any questions of any particular feature of Exploitpack, just let me know, because there is so much to cover on Exploitpack that I will choose fly on the features, but I want to also cover the Asians. I will take most of the time on the Asians. All right. See, there is a question. Let me see. It's on the chat. There you go. Hi, can I run your Exploitpack on a Windows virtual server? Yes, you can run it on any. It will run on any server, so it doesn't matter. Linux server, Windows server, in the cloud. It doesn't matter. So you can. So when you run it, make sure that you select the proper address. Otherwise, Exploitpack will always always bind to 0000 as well. So that's important for the Asians. All right, BamBam Local is a fuzzer. And BamBam Package, it will help. It's basically the same, but with the packages. You can choose run it. You can choose BamBam is from the Flintstones, and it's meant to choose as a simple fuzzer to discover. I don't know if you are learning simple stack-based bus overflow. This is a good starting point. And on that note, there are some exercises that you can play. So you can start with these ones if you haven't. Play with buffer overflows. There are the challenge 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if you are ready, you can do the rob split, rob to win. And of course, if you are into CrackMe's, you can play the CrackMe SHA1. This is one of the old Exploitpack challenges from 1 or 2 years ago. Still quite fun to do. And the Dragon Crack, that is basically a game. It's like an RPG game that you can play. So basically, you have to get this one, and you can compile it. and with the Visual Studio on or GCC, depends on when you want it. Or you can choose download the compiled binary here, and then you can play with it. It's like a type of a role-playing game, text-based, yeah, and it's fun to do. It's a dragon that you have to defeat the dragon, and the dragon will fight back with the debugging protections. So that's quite fun to do. All right, but let's go back to the remote control tab, and let's me quick cover a few of this. So implants is the one that we are gonna go now, but first, targets I explained already. TCP fuzzer, I went through it. Local fuzzer is similar to the bam-bams, that the fuzzers that I explained it, but this one is a little bit more complex. But as you can see, for the options that you have, you can use a deep brown pattern, lowercase, uppercase. So there are some discovery fuzzers. And then you can use the decoder as well. That's always good to have. So let's say, hello guys. So you can choose encoded or decoded, and you will have it here. Let's say you want to decode this, you don't know what it is, you click on decode, and it will run it on all the decoders. And if you can see here, you can get it quickly. UTF locator is a good cheat sheet to have with UTF. I used this one to find like a few years ago, this UTF locator to find WhatsApp's crashes. And got a CVE and mention on WhatsApp for it, so it's quite fun to do. There might be other applications that they will fail on UTF, so it's quite cool. Okay, but let's go back to the implants. So once you have an agent running on Exploitpack, and there are different type of agents, a shellcode, you always want to upgrade that shell into an agent. So basically, what we have running on Exploitpack by default is, as I mentioned, the port 1234 for the shellcodes, but we also have the 4443 for the agent servers, for the HTTPS agent server, and then we also have it running on the 8080. Yeah, so basically we have it with SSL and without. And we also have for new agent connections on the port 8000. Let me sip my coffee first. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we are having. By default, these are the ports that we are using. You interact with the agents from here using the console, and you will see the agents here listed. The agent setup there is done through these wizards, and then this agent interaction, the commands you will have them here, and these commands, they will change depending on the shell that you have. All right, so let's choose run a few of them. You also have, let me first explain them, and then we will run a few of them. I have a virtual machine here with Windows, so again, I can run all of them. So web plugin. So this one is gonna generate a Chrome only Chrome. So basically it's Chrome base. So it's WebKit base. So it will run on Opera, it will run on Safari, it will run on Edge. So any sim WebKit base that you can install a plugin based on WebKit. And why do you want to have that? Because if you install that plugin on that browser, then you will be able to capture all tabs, meaning you will have a keylogger or anything that the basic is a keylogger, or anything that you wanted to run on that specific browser. So with HTML5, you know that it's not possible to capture anything from the tab, from other tabs, but using a plugin, you can still in 2023. So this is one of the tricks that we can do. And basically what this is gonna do, if you just click on generate a plugin, then you need to go to their desktop and say plugin.zip, and you will have it generated. And if you go to it, think it was already there for some reason, but I have it here. So this is the plugin, Exploitpack GP. GP stands for Google plugin, of course. So here it is, and here's the agent. And the agent will contain the values that you set here. So basically, the server address. This is quite important. Is where if one of the members of this training ask, "Hey, what happened if I have it running a Windows server? Let's say you want to host Exploitpack in an AWS instance, Azure, or something like that. Well, you need to select the public address if you wanted the target to be able to reach your Exploitpack instance, of course. This is the port number, and as you can see, it's going to use this one. It's going to use the agent connections, right? So it's going to go to the basic agents connections. All right, when you have it there, you install as a plugin in that browser, and you need the users to install it. So there are different ways of installing plugins. As you know, you can choose as a user to click on something on the browser, and then they will auto-install the plugin, or you can choose, if you have access to the computer, choose pre-install the plugin on that computer, and you will have access to every plugin. Then let's go one by one. PPL DLL. This one is two agents in two agents in one. So PPL DLL. So first, you can select, of course, the server IP address of Exploitpack. Where is your Exploitpack instance? The port number. So this one is going to use the basic agents as well. And then you can use the DLL library implant. So basically, it's going to inject the agent of Exploitpack inside a DLL. So then later on, you have to inject that DLL into a process, move it, or somehow you need that DLL to be executed. Or you can use the DLL plus the PPL bypass implant. This one is going to use the exploits for PPL injection. It's going to jump into protected process light if the exploit is successful, and then run the DLL injected into a PPL, into a protected process light PPL process. And if you have that, there is also some commands that are added into that DLL that it will, for instance, there is the command kill AV. You can choose kill the antivirus and so on, because you will have PPL.
One in every room.
Sorry? You have a question?
Oh, no, sorry. I was talking to somebody else.
All right. Can you mute yourself?
I will try.
Yeah. All right. Let me. All right. Okay, the next one is if you want, you can include the unhooker binary. So basically, the unhooker binary was gonna do this the unhooker binary is a way to bypass detection of EDRs and antivirus, of course. So basically is gonna inject the unhooker binary. What's gonna happen here is you're gonna create a exe file. And that exe file is going to have the DLL injected into it, and it's going to unhook every hook from known DLLs. So when, as you might know, when you run an AV or an EDR, they go to user space and they try to hook every critical process on the system. In that way they will check and monitor by hooking into critical functions, for instance, kernel 32 functions, or whatever happens there. They will be traced and it will be blocked if there is something malicious happening from the AV or the EDR. And this unhooker, what's going to do is that it's going to unhook the hookers of the AV or EDR. Basically, it's going to unhook whatever is hooked from known DLL, and how it's gonna do that is gonna read the whatever is on the text file of those patched unhooked functions and DLLs, and then it's gonna load in during runtime the unpatched version from disk into memory, and then you will have a free binary running without detection. So 2023 is still working. So basically, all of these bypasses, PPL, and implants and type of techniques that you are hearing me saying, they are still working. If they change, you will see a new upgrade, a new update on Exploitpack. If there is something new release, something new that's or something that is old that is not working, you will see it go. So if there is not there anymore in Exploitpack, it means that doesn't work anymore. And if there is something new, it means that there is a new technique going on. If you want to keep up to date, we also have an idly build of Exploitpack, where we test new stuff. So feel free to reach me out if you want to check on that. Besides that, you need to always click on generate after you select the one. So let's say you want to create this one, or say this one, generate DLL plus an hooker, and then you will have it here. And as you can see, I choose unzip it. That one, I choose an exe plus the DLL. And of course, you need both. Phishing. The phishing wizard is for Outlook, Gmail, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and PayPal. And what you need here, so you cannot choose what it is as it is. You need to, well, if you want to load an email list, like if you want to use an email list of more than choose one email, here is from, to, and then instead of using choose one email, sorry, you can choose browser list, CSP spaced, comma separated, sorry, and then it's gonna choose get that list and then send that phishing campaign to every user or every user mail. And you can set it up manually if you want to change something in terms of what the exploit is gonna do. Oh, sorry, click at the wrong one. So this is what is gonna be sent. And well, after you click on send, it's gonna send the email. Where do you configure the SMTP in preferences? So if you go to preferences, you can change the SMTP configuration here. So basically, this is the config for smtp@gmail.com. But if you are using something with TLS enable, SSL enable, choose selected here, and it's basically your day-to-day SMTP basic config. And it's going to use that to send the emails. And the fish, basically, all of this, what I'm listed here, they are all login pages, right? And remember to use the Exploitpack public IP. You need to set here where it's gonna be, right? Exploitpack, of course, listening, and of course, these are, as I say, these are all login pages. Important on the phishing campaign, for example, is that you have also the autoexec functions. By default, the keylogger function comes loaded. So if your phishing campaign is successful and then you get a click on one of those pages, how are you gonna capture it? Because it's not a send, it's not sent to the server or anything, it's to a cross-site scripting. So it's basically a browser shell. So it's gonna send the commands back to Exploitpack, and it's gonna be sent directly to the browser. It's not gonna dump it into a file or anything. It's gonna be sent to Exploitpack itself. So Exploitpack needs to be running, and you can auto run any features that you wanted. So you can inject code into it, or you can choose send a message, add some plugins, check for the plugins, or basically run the keylogger. But there are other functions that you can see the functions from the ancient cross-site scripting, because remember we are talking about HTML login pages. Then we have BBS payloads. The BBS payloads, they can be sent, they can be used, into Office documents, for example. That's why we still have it, because the BBS payload, and that's described in the user manual. So these BBS payloads, they can be injected into Excel, Word, in the macro functions, or you can choose run them as it is. So always select what's the server IP of Exploitpack. You can select some functions to be added into the exploit itself. You can also into the agent itself, or you can choose have one of the your binaries injected into it. So if you want, you can inject another shell into the BBS or something like that. After you are done with it, you can generate, and then you have to save it or make it a stager if you want to use it, for example, in a macro document, right? So let's choose save it. I'm gonna put it into desktop, save, boom. Reverse shell. This one is for Linux, Windows. Let's create one as well. So for Linux, I'm gonna run it on my own machine. And if you want to inject a shell code into it, besides having the Python shell, you can inject it as well. So if you do that, then it's byte array mode, and then you can inject a shell code into Windows. But let's just say Python shell EP, generate code, save to file, Python shell EP. I'm gonna save it on desktop again. Boom, I have it there. And the browser shell. You need to set the external IP first. Set it green. Then, as you can see,
agent connected.
As soon as you have it running, I will just get a remote shell back, and it's going into this address, right? And then on my connection list, I will get the new shell. I will get an audio. Saying remote shell connected. I will also have the commands that I can run on that browser shell, and I can interact with it like that. For example, if I want to, I don't know, get session. Or I can choose show an alert, or I can just put the commands here as well. Let's say let's just show an alert first. And let's also, and of course for these ones, yeah, there you go. For this one, you can also use the auto exec. But of course, this is not how you are supposed to run it. You can see that the current commands and auto exec, they are pre-added here, but this is not how you are supposed to add it. So how you are supposed to use this is just for testing for you, but how you are, well, let's remove it, otherwise and this will work. Run this like that. And then I got this is choose one cookie. This is what I'm getting, or I can, I can freeze it, get session, get credentials, or so on. All right. All these commands, they can be auto-exec, and these same commands, they can be added into any shell that it supports the browser shell, for instance, the BBS as well. What happens with this is that how you are supposed to be used. This one is inside a browser. So this is the code. You can choose grab the code from here, but it's easier if you just go to this one, copy this code, put it inside a JS file, a JavaScript file, into your server or the website that you are pen testing. Let's say you find a cross-site scripting and you want to show the impact of having that cross-site scripting. Let's say, hey, I found a store cross-site scripting on this website during my pen test, and I want to show the impact of this stored cross-site scripting besides just showing an alert, because sometimes it's not so impactful to show an alert than just showing an agent with a remote connection with it. So instead of showing an alert, what you want to do is to inject the code from Exploitpack, the JavaScript code here. Of course, you need to point it into the server, or you can just point it into the HTTP server as is shown here. So if you inject, if you send the alert and send it to this one, to this page, of course you need to be able to reach it. Then you will have an agent, of course, and all the agents that you run, of course, will be listed here. Let me see if I have a different browser in Firefox. So no. Okay, so let's choose one in Firefox.
Connected.
Say new agent connection, and you can see I have a different cookie, and now it's for Firefox. Same IP, of course, but fine. All right, let's run a different one. Let's close this. Oh no, sorry. Let's run a different type of shell. Not choose the browser one. Okay, so let's copy. Okay, this is the non-DLL hook, and I think I forgot to show you guys the .NET Nation, and for some reason I skipped that. This is easier to run. So I recommend you that you try this one if you are just trying the agents of Exploitpack. This is one of the more simple ones. Let's copy that one as well. And so like that. I'm not gonna run this one, but I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna run a few of them only. All right, let's first start with the Python shell.
New remote agent connected.
This is the Python shell. I have it here, and it is running. And as you can see, it has kill agent available, screenshot, or open shell.
New remote agent connected.
So it's gonna open a shell. Oops. There you go. And I have on my remote shell, in this case, the same shell, but of course, it's the same shell of my machine. But if you run it on a remote target, you will get a remote shell. Close it. Let's let's execute this one, non-DLL unhook. Now let's first run this one, the BBS agent.
Agent connected.
I have a new remote agent connected. Now is this one. This one has more commands. As default, it will give you some system info. Let's put it like that, and let's try to grab a screenshot. Trying to get the screenshot, and that's the screenshot from this virtual machine. And well, you can get this. You can install it. Like if you want to get persistence, you can self-destruct if you want to clean after it, or you can just run a command. Oops. something wrong. Or you can choose run the commands here as well. You can say dir. So that's running the command. There you go. Oh, we can say who am I? EA user. All right, let's stop this one. Kill agent. Agent kill it. So it's not running anymore. Okay, and let's refresh this. And last, I'm gonna run these other two agents so you can see they're running. First, I'm gonna run the .NET agent. This one has a graphical interface so you can see what's happening. And every agent has, I forgot to mention, but every agent is gonna have a config.ep. It's a config file that you can add auto-execute commands, but the basic two commands that you need, of course, are the host and the port, right? And same go for the DLLs. So this one is exploitpack.dll. It will also look in the same folder for config.ep. If you want to know what is, you say, hey, but what is the DLL doing? I don't trust your DLL. Fair enough. Compile the DLL yourself. The code is available here under DLL implant. For the DLL implant, the reverse shell is available here. The .NET agent code is available here. The PPL bypass implant is available here. And there's also some other ones not listed, like the GDB connector that will inject an agent into a GDB so you can debug an exploit remotely, and the BBS agent that I should show you, and the cross-site scripting. So for every agent, and the .NET one, I think I already said it. And for every agent, you have the source code. And if you need instructions or you need help setting up your Visual Studio environment in order to be able to compile this code, we 100% support that. So let us know if you run into issues doing that. All right, but let's run it. Exploitpack.ep. It has choose a quick interface. You can choose hide it. Yeah, and it's already connected because I set up the auto connect one. So it's connected here using .NET. You can see .NET, and I'm still running this one for some reason somewhere. And the last one that I'm gonna show you, let's kill this one. Oh, you can also inject into a DLL this agent. So if you don't want to have it on .NET, you can migrate to a different process. Okay, and yes. And let's run the last one, that is unhook DLLs. And this is basically, this is the binary. It's gonna, when in my virtual machine, I mean, your scenario, your platform will be different, but in my virtual machine, it will look for all the hooked DLLs. I discovered these ones, and then I hooked all of those, because that's what I have listed. I have in my known DLLs, right? And then after that, it's gonna inject the DLL, this one, exploitpack.dll, into the binary after being unhooked, right? So as you can see, I'm running Defender, so completely up to date. It shouldn't be detected. All right, all the agents, all the control, guys. I think we are on time, so I'm gonna stop sharing. I hope it was informative. I hope it was clear. If you have questions of any sort, feel free to ask on Discord, or if you need technical help with one specific topic that you cannot share in the public, let us know on support. And we are always happy to help you. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I will see you again next month on the next monthly training. Thanks, guys, and have a nice weekend. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Recording stopped.